Well, this morning I'm reading from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27. And here, God has given, through Moses, the people instruction. When they come into the land, they're supposed to split in half. 6 tribes on one mountain, Mount Gerizim, and they're going to bless the people. And 6 tribes on the other top of a mountain with this valley in between, Mount Ebal, and they are going to curse the people. What they're doing is they're going to remind the people, hey, if you keep the words of God's law, you're going to be blessed. If you do what he said it for us to do, you're going to be blessed. But if you don't keep the words of this law, you're going to be cursed. If you do the things that God has said not to do, it's going to bring upon us a curse. And so this was this reminder to the people of what they were supposed to be about when they were in the land, and not to forget God and his word. And at the last verse of chapter 27, verse 26, it says, "Cursed be he that confirmeth not all the words of this law to do them. And all the people shall say, Amen." Well, you see, there's a huge problem with that. And that is, there is no one righteous, no, not one. The people broke the law of God. And to this day, there are people who think that they're going to be okay with God because they're a good boy or a good girl. They say, I have kept God's law. But I've got to remind you that in James chapter 2 and verse 10, he says, "For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all." You see, the law is a whole. It's not all these different pieces. It is a whole. And if you break this part of it right here, you are guilty of the entire thing. So you cannot be saved by keeping the law. You cannot be right in God's eyes by keeping the law. So you say, well, what purpose does the law serve? Well, Romans chapter 3, verse 20 answers that question for us. "Therefore, by the deeds of the law, there shall no flesh be justified in his sight." That's what I just said. By the deeds of the law, you can't be made right or justified before God. It goes on to say, "For by the law is the knowledge of sin." You see, that's what the law does. The law shows us what sin is. Paul says in the book of Romans, he said, I didn't even understand what covetousness was until I read in the law that I wasn't supposed to do it. And then all of a sudden, I just realized how much of this was in me and how much covetousness I was guilty of. And so it's like the child that is little bitty feller crawling around, and there's a light socket over there on the wall, and you tell them, don't touch that. Well, they hadn't even thought about it until you said that. But when you told them no, the only thing in them that they want to do is to go touch it. You see, that's what sin is within us. And so if the law can't save us and the law can't make us right before God, what does? Well, Galatians chapter 2, verse 16 says, "Knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by the faith of Jesus Christ. Even we have believed in Jesus Christ, that we might be justified by the faith of Christ and not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified." So there it is. If you want to be right with God, you're not going to get there on your own. You're not going to get there by your track record. You're not going to get there by your good deeds. Because you can have 99 good deeds and one piece of sin involved in that, and it destroys the entire thing, because when you break God's law, you've broken the whole thing. So it means a murderer is just as guilty as somebody who's dishonored their parents. But the Bible is very clear, and it tells us that by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. I hope you know Jesus. I hope you're trusting in Jesus, because he's the one who makes us right. He's the one who can save us. God bless you. Have a great day.